everyone, and welcome to the U.S. History Part A midterm, or the 8.04 semester test, as it is called in your course. To find the test, what you're going to need to do is go into your course and click on Unit 8. And once you find Unit 8, you're going to scroll down to the semester test modified 8.04 and click on that option. As with any other test, on your midterm, you are going to need to ensure that you save your answers as you go. It's very smart to also make sure that you are jotting down what you are putting for each answer. So if you lose internet connection or have any technical difficulties, you don't lose your work. So make sure that you are writing 1 to 56. There are 56 questions on the test, no essay. And make sure that you are writing down the actual full response, not A, B, C, or D, but the actual full response that you're putting. What you want to do then at the end of the test is submit for grading so that it shows up successfully to me in the gradebook. Okay, let's get started with going through the test. We're going to look at question number 1. What is one way the Columbian Exchange affected Native Americans? They learned new techniques for building homes, it kept them disease-free for several generations, or it brought them domestic animals they had not seen before. Before I go into number 2, I just realized I did not state the time that you should be taking the test. The test is open from April 5th, this coming Friday, and it will be open until you are actually scheduled to take it on the 8th or 9th of April. You should finish the midterm before the quarter ends and the new quarter begins. So please make sure to do the test at the latest. You should be doing it before April 10th. Number 2, what was the main reason for the founding of Jamestown? New food sources to honor King James, or so investors could make money. What purpose did the Mayflower Compact serve in the Plymouth colony? It established a government separate from England. It served as the basis for passing laws for the colony, or it provided rules for farming and trade. Number 4, what was a major difference between the Massachusetts Bay Colony and the Rhode Island Colony? Rhode Island founder Roger Williams believed in religious toleration. The majority of Rhode Island colonists had been born in America. Massachusetts Bay founder John Winthrop encouraged religious diversity. Number 5, what was one result of the Sugar Act, the Quartering Act, and the Stamp Act in the period following the French and Indian War? They helped keep the French from resuming the fighting. They allowed the colonies to assist the Indians and thereby maintain peace. They contributed to growing tensions between Britain and the colonies, that should say. So it should say they contributed to growing tensions between Britain and the colonies. Number 6, why did the colonists object to paying taxes to the British government? The taxes created economic hardships for the colonists. They had no elected representation in Parliament, or the money funded only British troops, not the American militia that provided colonial defense. Which statement best expresses the self-evident truths stated in the Declaration of Independence? People are created equal and entitled to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Citizens must choose a government that serves both the nation and their own interests. Or the last option, self-government requires educated people invested in participating in democracy. Number 8, which group of events occurred during the American Revolution? Group A, American victory at Saratoga, naval successes for John Paul Jones, American losses at Charlestown and Savannah, and British surrender at Yorktown. Or is Group B the better fit here? First Continental Congress convened, shots fired at Independence Hall, and British treaty with the Hessians. Is it Group A or Group B that would fit a group of events that occurred during the American Revolution? What was George Washington's role during the American Revolution? President of the Confederation of States, Commander-in-Chief of the Continental Army, General of the Virginia Militia. Number 10, what was a weakness of the Articles of Confederation? Larger states had more power than smaller states. federal taxes were set at the same rate as the British, or 9 of 13 states had to approve new laws and amendments required approval by 13 states. Number 11, what did James Madison expect the Constitutional Convention to do? Follow the model provided by the Virginia legislature, replace the Articles of Confederation, or consult with French scholar Montesquieu to resolve questions about the nature of government. Which statement about the U.S. Constitution is true? It is the longest-lived plan for representative government in history. It is modeled on the Magna Carta, the world's oldest effective plan for representative government, or it was Thomas Jefferson's masterpiece. Which statement is best describing the U.S. Constitution? Remember, there could be more than one seemingly correct answer here, but you want to pick the one that is most important and most true. Number 13, what document did John Jay, Alexander Hamilton, and James Madison write to persuade people to adopt the new Constitution? The Constitutional Communications, the Federalist Papers, or the Federal Reform Papers? Number 14, which branch of government declares war, approves constitutional amendments, and begins impeachment proceedings? Is that the legislative, judicial branch, or the Central Intelligence Agency? Number 15, what was George Washington's belief about U.S. foreign policy? The United States should form a strong alliance with France, the United States should remain neutral, or the United States should be open to alliances with all nations. Number 16, what acquisition doubled the size of the United States and offered control of the Mississippi River? The Florida Secession, the Lewis and Clark Expedition, or the Louisiana Purchase? Which statement explains the Federalist Party's views on government? Political power should be in the hands of the common people, the Supreme Court should be the most powerful branch of government, or there should be a strong federal government. Number 18, what part of the Constitution guarantees individual and other freedoms and protections? Article 2, the Preamble, or the Bill of Rights? 19, what are the major causes of the War of 1812? Impressment of American sailors, resentment over the Revolution and trade restrictions, the U.S. effort to extend the northern border into Canada and an opportunity to support Native Americans, or disputes over navigable waters and an interest in increasing trade? Okay, we're looking for what were the major causes of the War of 1812. Number 20, the United States changed in the period following the War of 1812. Which group best describes some of these changes? Is it Group A? Architecture became increasingly modern, agriculture increased along the coast, religion became less important to most people, and South American exploration began? Or does Group B better fit this time period following the War of 1812? Tariffs were imposed on foreign trade, westward movement and exploration grew, cotton production increased, and political parties became less important. Group A or Group B? Number 21, which Supreme Court decision determined that the court had the right to rule on the constitutionality of laws? Was that Marbury versus Madison, McCulloch versus Maryland, or Dartmouth College versus Woodward? Number 22, which were the provisions of the Missouri Compromise? Maine was admitted to the Union as a free state, and slavery was prohibited north of latitude 36 degrees 30 minutes. Missouri was admitted to the Union as a free state. Slavery was allowed north of the latitude 36 degrees 30 minutes, or Maine and Missouri were admitted to the Union and allowed to vote regarding allowing slavery. Okay, so which option correctly describes the Missouri Compromise? What was the Monroe Doctrine? The series of treaties negotiated following the War of 1812, the plan for resolving the financial crisis that followed the Panic of 1819, or the position that colonization by European countries would not be tolerated in the Americas? Who introduced the idea of using mass-produced interchangeable parts in manufacturing? Was that DeWitt Clinton, Cyrus McCormick, or Eli Whitney? Number 25, what impact did Cyrus McCormick's Reaper and John Deere's steel plow have on agriculture? They opened up more of New England to farming. They made large-scale agriculture possible and profitable, or they allowed small farmers to keep up with large landowners. Number 26, what was the result of the construction of the Erie Canal? Construction costs dropped, federal financing increased across the nation, or transportation costs dropped. Number 27, what was the overall impact of Samuel F.B. Morse's telegraph on American society? It changed the nature of communication and commerce. It brought huge profits to investors who had purchased stock in it, or it affected the political process by speeding up elections. Number 28, why did Andrew Jackson believe that he, not John Quincy Adams, should have been elected president in 1824? Because he won both the popular vote and the plurality of electoral votes? Because he served as a strong military leader in the tradition of George Washington? Or because John Quincy Adams had not held any other elective office? Number 29, which group describes the members of the Whig Party that opposed Andrew Jackson? Group A, small farmers and others that distrusted banks, strong supporters of slavery, proponents of westward expansion, and people who questioned the market economy? Or was it Group B, people opposed to slavery, merchants and bankers, moral reformers, especially with respect to Native Americans, and people who supported the market economy? Who were people who were more likely to be members of the Whig Party that opposed Andrew Jackson? Group A or Group B? I'm going to go ahead and stop the recording here for this first part, and then we're going to pick up with the second part to finish your questions from question 30 to the end of question 15.